the first time in years. Got my feet crossed the border.
Hi, welcome to Logan's Story, and today is a home vlog day. You're very lucky. You're a very lucky person to be here during a home vlog day. It's still Tuesday. I just put out a video called A Bug's Life movie review. It's part of my series that I'm doing, a Pixar movie review, where every Tuesday I put out a video talking about my favorite Pixar movies and reviewing it from top to bottom, from facts to even real life aspects that I think could help out in the long run for a lot of different things in the world. So just keep in tune for those. The next one is going to be Toy Story 2, which is going to be the next Tuesday. Okay, so keep in tune for that. But today, I kind of want to talk about my top 5 favorite Universal films. Or should I say films that are acquainted with Universal in some way? Because there's a lot of films that I feel like are Universal films, but there are some that aren't, that I think are acquainted in some direction with Universal. Because, this is how I am. I want to talk about 5. The 5 hand that's almost as big as my face. Do you remember that joke they used to do? Where, like, if you put your hand in your face, that means you're stupid. And then they would smack your hand in your face? I just did it to myself. I'm stupid. Alright, so let's get into this list real quick. First I want to mention something very important. That Universal happens to be a big childhood thing that has been acquainted in my life for quite some time. It's always been on my television, even like movies like Twister and Back to the Future especially, and the Flintstones, things like that. Universal has been a big part of my life, just as Disney has. Anyone could probably tell you the story of young Logan riding the Hollywood Studio Tour's backlot tour. Yeah, if when it opens, you best believe I'm gonna be terrified to ride that ride. Terrified, because I don't like that ride. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really depends on the day, and where I'm sitting. So, we want to talk about Universal and some of the greatest movies they've done thus far. Okay, so one movie that I think, I'm going to start with number 5. One movie I think that should be talked about more often than not is the movie ScoobyDoo. Oh yeah, ScoobyDoo. I'm talking about like the ScoobyDoo movie. The one with, what's that guy's name? He was in Scream, but he played Shaggy. I'm just saying, that movie is my childhood. It's been in my life forever, okay? I think I used to have a VCR and a VHS, and I used to put that in all the time. That was like my go-to movie. But what makes it so great? It's literally a Hollywood classic. I mean, a lot of people don't like that movie. Some people don't like that movie. But I love that movie. That movie has brought so many upstanding things in my life. Like, for instance, how to fight monsters and ghosts. I say ghost. But the point is, that movie is probably one of the most interesting movies, nonetheless, because it's like a live action Scooby-Doo. Which, if you've seen the Scooby-Doo now probably looks like crap, but Scooby-Doo then, bruh, that was like peak visual effects. Because at the time there wasn't well, I think there was stop motion capture. Yeah, there was because there was a Lord of the Rings. So, forgot about that. But listen, it's peak entertainment because there's a lot of jokes that are dirty, adult jokes in that. But it's mainly a kids movie, which if your kid hasn't seen it, if you have a kid, sit them down and have them watch Scooby-Doo. Okay, because that movie is amazing. Watch Scooby-Doo. Very good movie. Another movie we want to talk about is Casper. you're probably thinking, Casper, what? Well, here's the thing. Casper is a very interesting movie because nonetheless, it's like, well, I don't know. It's a movie that talks a lot about death. And it brings to light a lot of love and loss in the world, you know? Which is very interesting nonetheless, because when you think about love and loss, you don't think about it in the way that this movie does. It is a kid's movie, nonetheless. It is a kid's movie. But what you have to understand about kids' movie back then is a lot of them had details that realistically held down this idea of adulthood, you know? Like dinosaurs. Have you seen Dinosaurs? 90s classic? 90s TV classic? Watch the ending. Alf. Watch the ending. All kids shows. Sesame Street. Yeah, Sesame Street even had some things to do with very adult themes. Like, again, death. So Casper brings this whole thing to light, but it's also a very lovely-hearted Disney movie, which is great. Okay, well, we're number 3. We're on number 3, yeah? Alright, I want to talk about Flintstones. Flintstones, this is John Goodman, and I see his face. Oh, Rick Moranis. John Goodman and Rick Moranis, I think that was him, in this movie. Fantastic. Fantastic as Barney and Fred and Wilma and oh my god, this fly. All the cast members in this movie are fantastic. The feel of the movie is fantastic too, because it's a Flintstones classic cartoon movie. It's not a cartoon movie, but it's based off the cartoon movie. What I find interesting about it is the overpowering sense of you know what it feels like? It feels like Cat in the Hat in some senses, or maybe Flintstone, or maybe Cat in the Hat felt like Flintstones in terms of the overall vibe of the movie, that kind of family aspect. You know, actually, there was a time, and I want to talk about this in a later video. There was a time between the 2000s, late 90s, and like up until 2009, I want to say, there was a slew of like family-oriented movies that had a specific picture quality, had a specific mood, it was just interesting. Think of any like Eddie Murphy movie after the 90s. Like that was like the movies back then in the early 2000s. And like these kind of like trailers and shit, those were the trailers that you would see. So this Flintstones movie has that kind of vibe, which is very, very awesome to see. And so does the previous movies I've talked about, but this one captures it like to a bitter point that I can't even express. Okay, so more to say on that. Jeez, man, always doing this. More to say on that. I would say that Flintstones keeps tune on one of the most interesting points of life. Family is everything, and don't let your work get the best of you. Yeah, don't switch tests when Barney clearly is the winner. Fred, I'm watching you, Fred. I'll be watching you to the very bitter end. I may not have ransom money, but I have a particular set of skills and know it all. So I will get you. Once I find you, I will kill you. Look, it's just me talking, okay? Okay, I'm bored, okay? Okay, number two, dos. I want to talk about Back to the Future Part 2. I know what you're thinking, Logan. What about Back to the Future Part 1? Isn't that one of your favorites? It's one of my favorites. It's not one of my favorites that's going to end up on the top 5 list. Back to the Future Part 2, that's going to end up on the top 5 list before anything. Let me tell you why Back to the Future Part 2 is my favorite. It has a darker vibe to it. Everything about it is just darker, you know? The way the future upholds for Marty, the way the alternate future of, alternate 1985 is like the limitless ground for Biff's Playland. the way everything is just shaped up, if you really look into detail with everything, and then the ending, leaving you on a big old cliffhanger. Jeez, goodness gracious me, that's terrible. That's just not right. This is just crazy. Look, I just think Back to the Future 2 is a superior movie to Back to the Future Part 1. That's just me. And a lot of people are going to be like, Back to the Future Part 1 had its moments, but Back to the Future Part 2 is superior. Reason being, because the story is a little bit more interesting. The build-up of the characters and the relationship between each one of them seems to define itself in this movie. And everything just seems to come together for the even more spectacular Back to the Future. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for yawning. Back to the Future Part 3, which is fantastic. And trust me, if I had a way to watch Back to the Future Part 3 right now, I would. But yeah, I can't, because I don't have a Netflix. By the way, is Back to the Future Part 3 on Netflix? Leave it down in the comments below if you can comment. Yeah. Someone was looking at me.
Oh no, I gave my heart away. Went a bit too far.
Oh, you still want to hear number one? Okay. Alright. Sorry. Alright, number one. I don't think this relegates itself to Universal, but it has a ride in Universal, or more like a well, actually, we'll do that in another video. I think another movie that is personally one of my favorites that's Universal is going to be E.T. E.T. I didn't watch it a lot when I was little, and actually, to be honest with you, I'll probably watch it more now than when I was little, because it seems to me that it has the very thing that makes a movie a movie. You know what that is? Nowadays, and especially in that time, I would say it's the heart of the movie, the heart and soul of the movie, the very thing that keeps the movie going, that keeps the audience interested. What makes the movie the heart and soul? E.T. Literally, the little brown alien. That is the heart and soul of the movie. That's what keeps people coming back. Ain't nobody want to see the troubles of a family, in the first 30 minutes of the film, just the suppressing trouble with the family. That's okay, if you write it the right way. Yes, even to those movies, there's a heart. But to put an alien in the mix of all that, and having that hopefully fix the family, that is the heart and soul of the movie. That's why I find E.T. one of the most attractive movies ever made, because it captures that idea of heart and soul. And also, E.T. is literally available in any store in Universal Orlando. Seriously, he's like in pillows and shit. But he's like in different wares. He's just everywhere. But yeah, those are my top 5 favorite Universal films. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming to Logan's Story, and have a blessed day, guys. Peace.
I never lost it. Subscribe.